Hey folks, just a big disclaimer before we get into this heavily requested video, and it's been a long time coming. This tutorial is not for anybody who has never sewn before, and also it's probably not for anybody who doesn't have a sewing machine. I know that might catch some flack, but this is a pretty big piece and has some different kinds of stitches, and it's just really not suited to hand sewing. That also being said, this also isn't an introduction in how to use that sewing machine. If you want that made, let us know and maybe Ash and Wife will be willing to do so, but this assumes basic knowledge on how to use a sewing machine and how to follow pattern instructions. So it still walks you through how the pattern works, how it goes together, materials being used, and weathering it, but it does not teach you how to use a sewing machine. Okay? Got it? Good. Great. Enjoy the video.
And look at this production value. You ready? Full screen, baby. Hey guys, this is Ashton from Ashton Warrior Props, and today, after about being told to do this 5 years ago, I'm finally showing the NCR Ranger Coat and how it was made. But let's get a couple things out of the way. In this video, you're gonna see a different set of hands working on things. That is because my wife did this so that I come down here and do some other things. Plus, she does most of the sewing around here. I can sew, it's just not my preferred medium. If that does scare you, I'll let you know this is easy enough that a big dumb idiot like myself can sew this together. There's no intricate pleats. She says she's not professional, but she's an idiot. I'll edit that out. This has no fancy intricate pleats or weird seam lines or anything. The template is easily adjustable. So this really should not scare you. If you are new to sewing, I would say that it's pretty relatively beginner friendly, right? She says it's beginner friendly. Let's talk about this template. If you head over to my website, you can find this template over in the store section. When you go to print this out, we're going to follow my typical 8.5 by 11 print in poster mode on Adobe Acrobat. That is just going to make this easier unless you have a banner printer. Now, before you send that to the printer, it is noted that this is scaled to a men's large. Most of my stuff, I have a very generic video game protagonist build. I'm like 5'10", 180 athletic build. What are you laughing at? I'm being made fun of. I'm being bullied. Make your adjustments accordingly. Like I said, I wear a men's large, so if you wear a medium, this probably is fine on you. If you need to lengthen the shoulders or the sleeves, that is also completely doable. Again, this template is adjustable. When you trace, you can just extend your lines and sew as such. Material wise, the material that I opted to use for mine, I used to do canvas, waxed canvas to mimic some Vietnam style looks, but I recently saw a guy do this out of brown denim and I really liked it, especially once it's weathered. This is not brown denim.
This is cotton duck canvas. It's in your notes.
Cotton duck?
So in my notes it tells you about the fabric.
Cotton duck canvas. My wife says you should be using a heavy woven fabric. This is cotton duck canvas. Okay, so to get into this, like with our other foam templates, we're going to cut this template out. Now, one thing, again, if you are new to sewing, a majority of this coat is going to go together. First thing inside out, and then you just turn it right side out once you're done. Once you cut out your template, we are then going to start into the... Hold on, I should read this first, shouldn't I? Once you've got everything traced, we are then going to talk about the different measurements for tracing. With the sleeve, you are going to measure yourself from your shoulder down to your wrist and add 2 inches. I said that correctly. I did. Look at me.
Redraw your angle from your top point to the bottom.
You know what?
This is Ashton's wife. I'm going to explain a couple things because it's hard to explain it to Liam to then explain it to you guys. So when you're doing the sleeve, so here's the template, you're going to want to measure from the tip of your shoulder, so the very tip, all the way down to your wrist, and then add at least 2 inches for sewing allowance. And when you do that, you're going to measure out the length you need and then redraw your angle on the sides. So from this top point down to the bottom point, once you've added your length, redraw it so that you have that correct angle going down your sleeve and it's not just getting really narrow and doesn't fit around your wrist, if that makes sense.
Listen, I was still confused by the end of this, so I'm going to assume that you, the viewer, are a little bit confused as well. On the screen, I have what the sleeve template looks like. This is it straight out of the template itself, no adjustments made. Once you've made the measurement of your arm, as Ashen Wife mentioned, then the key thing that's important here is the cuff measurement at the bottom is what needs to stay the exact same. So I don't actually know off the top of my head what this measurement is, but this point to this point must remain the same. So when they talk about adjusting the angle, if you measure your arm and you realize that it actually needs to go down to about here, what you don't want to do is to just continue this angle like this. Otherwise, it's going to get way too skinny. So what you'll do instead is you will figure out the extra length that you will need to add. You will add it accordingly, and then you will take a ruler or whatever, and you will, again, let's say the point straight down is to right about here and here. You will take a ruler, you will take it to this top point and not have a digital ruler that's absolutely freaking out like I am here, but you will take it to that point and to wherever it is right about here. Again, this is just an example. And then you will draw it accordingly. So let's just say that's where it was. That is the angle we're talking about. So this point will get a bit more of a space. So the most important thing that I'm talking about here, if there's one takeaway, it is that this cuff width must stay the same. Okay? Keep the cuff width the same, and then adjust the angle from this point up here down to wherever it needs to, with the cuff width staying the same. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a lot. We all hate sewing here.
Once you have cut out your fabric, and a tip for cutting out your fabric, I like to fold mine in half and then trace it and use something to kind of like weigh the pattern down and then cut it out, and that way I get two pieces cut out at once. Also, if it's folded in half and you have a fabric like a brown denim where there is one correct side and one like side that's not the correct color, then if you fold it in half, it gives you two pieces that will then be correct when you unfold them, if that makes sense. The majority of the coat, like Ashen said earlier, gets sewed together inside out. Step one, you're going to sew the two back pieces together. Use a stretch stitch. If your sewing machine has it, it just allows for more room to move without seams popping. It can be labeled as S1, S2, or just stretch. And make sure when you're sewing, your correct facing sides are together. So again, if you have a fabric where there is one side that is like the brown you want and one side that is a lighter color, you're going to put the two brown sides together and you're going to sew looking at the like white side, if that makes sense. Next, you're going to sew over the raw edge with a zigzag or a like blanket stitch, just to help keep the edges, the raw edges, from fraying. This is optional. You don't have to do that. I like to do it because I feel like it helps the coat stand up. And then after you get the two back pieces sewed together in the very back middle, you're then going to move on to the gusset, which is the lower part of the coat where it flares or it flaps open. This allows for movement and like sitting down. So the gusset, you're going to fold and then pin and sew along that. And then step two is you will sew the shoulders together, the very top edge of the shoulders of the back and the front. Once you have your shoulders sewn together, you will then sew your sleeves onto the front and the back pieces. So you're going to lay out your front and back pieces to where they're laid flat out on a table, and you'll then have that curve where your shoulder is. You're going to lay it out and then pin the very top curve of your sleeve to that curved area now in your front and back part. And again, make sure you are pinning it to where you have your correct sides touching each other. That way, when after you sew it, you flip it inside the correct side out, it will then be correct. Otherwise, you have a bummer and it doesn't look right. After you get your sleeves sewed onto the front and back, you're then going to move on to step 4, which is where you then put the back and the front back together, and then you're going to sew up along the sides and along the bottom edge of the sleeve to then kind of create the coat all together. You're going to fold and sew the sleeve edges, or kind of roll and sew the sleeve edges and the bottom hem. This is the part where you're going to want to like put it on your body, see where it hits you on the bottom edge, fold and sew it to where you like the hem length, and same with the sleeves. Put it on, roll them to where they're at the length that you like, stitch them around, and then move on to the next step, which is you're going to fold and sew this front edge. And you'll notice this coat doesn't overlap like a lot of coats. That's because that's the way it is in the game, is it's kind of open where your chest is going to show. So some patterns, if you've done a coat pattern before, will have you add an extra piece for this front edge. We're not doing that. We're just going to roll and stitch the front edge. After that step, you are then going to turn your coat the right side out. So we've been working inside out this whole time. Now you're going to turn it right side out, and you're going to set the coat to the side while you then move on to the collar and the cape. The next step is sewing the collar pieces together. So you're going to take the two pieces of the collar, pin them together, stitch around the side and the top edge. Leave the bottom open because you're going to slide that over the neck later. So once you do that, turn it correct side out, set it to the side, and move on to the cape, which is step 8. So for the cape, you're going to stitch together the shoulder part of the cape. So the front pieces to the back piece, stitch along that curve. This is part you want to do inside out, so make sure your correct sides are touching each other. Stitch along the shoulder edge. Then you're going to roll and stitch, fold and stitch the front edge and bottom edge. You can leave the neck part raw. You don't have to fold and stitch that because you're going to then stitch that onto the coat. So once that's together, you move on to step 9, where you attach the cape to the coat. So you're going to kind of line it up where it goes around the neck, stitch those together, and then you're going to attach the collar. The collar part is a little bit trickier. You're going to want to fold under the bottom edge of the collar that we left unstitched. And you can go in and you can iron this if that makes it easier to kind of hold it into position. Most people that do professional sewing go in and like iron their fabric and stuff. I'm not a professional, so I don't do that. I'm lazy. So you're going to fold it under and then kind of slide it over all of that raw edge that's along the neck. So along where you just stitched the cape and the neck of the coat together. And you're going to fold it and pin it to where it covers that up and seals all that in, so there's no longer any raw edges showing. And then you're going to stitch along that. And then after you stitch along the neck, you're going to keep stitching and just kind of stitch along the outside edge of your collar. That just kind of gives it a little bit more stiffness so that you can kind of stand it up and make it stick up a little bit more like it does in the game. After that, your sewing is done. So make sure you also trim your threads. And then the next part is moving on to painting and weathering, which I'm going to pass back off to Ashen.
Yeah, we sat here, we did like 5 takes of me reading through her notes. It is very difficult. We are a very crafty household, and we have both lived by the rule that, like, hey, if you're trying to teach somebody to do something and you're the one who did it for that specific project, you probably need to be the one to teach them. Again, don't let it scare you. This is not a hard project. I've sewn stuff before. This is not a difficult thing. Again, this was just mostly so somebody else I could finish some other videos here. Don't let that scare you off. Like everything else with the NCR Ranger armor, there are different versions of what goes on the shoulders here. I opted to go for the one on the cover art, which is a bear and then the number 7. And I've seen them with different things and different numbers and logos on there, so you are welcome to use whatever you want. I just stenciled on the NCR bear logo and the 7 in parentheses, and the way I did that was I simply laid out some cardstock and spray glued it onto the shoulder where it goes, and I stippled on some white paint. Again, doing white paint rather than embroidery is gonna sell the more aged military look to this, so I encourage you not to do something like embroidery or whatever. Just do some stippled on acrylic paint. So for the weathering, material wise, we're gonna use a lot of Dirty Down. That is my absolute new favorite weathering stuff. The Dirty Down stuff. If you go on over to Instagram and tell old Goblin Huts that I sent you, he'll say, cool, I know that guy. This ain't the 40s. You're not going to get a discount for knowing me. So what I like to do when I weather fabric, especially heavier stuff like this, is I like to start out by making my rips and tears. This is Fallout, so this thing it's supposed to be 100-something, 200 years old, unless the NCR is actively still sewing these, which they might. I don't know. There's the bear. For ripping these and making some scratches, holes, and scrapes. Stop laughing at me. Just work here. I like to actually take my old hole saw and I placed it on the fabric and pulled the fabric and the hole saw in opposite directions. And what that's going to do is create some light, realistic rips and tears. Think of it like if you're ever walking past like a fence and there's a piece of loose wire and it catches your shirt. We're kind of mimicking something like that. You can take a blowtorch or a lighter to this to create some bullet holes, but I didn't do that on this specific coat. This client who ordered this one specifically asked not for bullet holes. Now, to create some active, like everyday weathering, I'm going to go back to the tried and true method of taking some 80 grit sandpaper, pinning the piece down, and just scraping in one direction. So pull it towards you, pull it towards you, pull it towards you. And what that's going to do is fray the top layers of your fabric and make them look more loose, more aged, more not right out of the factory. And again, that's just going to breathe some life into this. Once you're satisfied with your sanding and your holes, we're then going to go into our edge dusting and our dirt weathering. As you can see on camera, my edges here are lighter. And the reason that is because think of it, when you wear a coat out daily, especially if you live in a dusty, dirty area, somewhere that has a lot of ambient dust, it clings to the stitch lines and the foldovers on your clothes. And the reason that is just it's thicker and it stays there, is all that it is. And if you look at this coat, what I've done is make it look like the bottom ends of the cape and the edges of the fabric are where the dirt and dust has settled and collected. So to start out with that, it's the one paint that's not dirty down. I used just a beige rattle can paint and I shot it from about 8 inches away and just dusted all of the edges all the way around the coat. Again, we're just going to highlight the edges with this. Once you've highlighted your edges, I then take Dirty Down dark brown aging spray. And then I go over the seams and the underarms, and this is just going to create some additional highlighted shadows on this build. You can, again, use like brown spray paint or something if you don't have access to it. I like this stuff because it essentially functions as a translucent paint that is just tinted brown. It is obviously more than that, but that is in essence what the effect it is pulling off with that. Once you've got that on there, we're then going to go over the cape with some more of that dark brown aging spray. Again, we're going to go over the seam lines behind the neck, around the edge of the shoulders, and just really make sure we sell that this is out in the desert, this is out in the dirt and the dust. Did I miss it? I don't think I missed anything. I don't think I missed anything. Outro time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to see my amazing wife. She's normally a lot more active in the behind the scenes. We've had 2 children since the last time she has hopped on a video with me. We also have 3 dogs. So yeah, things are crazy at the Ashen household. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Again, sewing scares a lot of cosplayers out there. Please don't let it. It's just another tool in your toolkit. And again, if you want to be a professional at something, I say you need to be well versed in everything. So please don't be afraid to add this to your arsenal. Give it a try before you pay somebody else to make it for you. I restocked the bonfire with sweatshirt versions of Visit Scenic Majula that my wife also, she designs all of the stuff that's on the website. If you end up building this, please tag me on Instagram or send it to me just so I can see it. I would love to see it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or Instagram is where I'm most active. And I think that should be it. I guess thumbnail pose time. I don't know how I'm going to thumbnail pose this. I'll figure it out.